In the quiet moments of the evening, when the house is still and the world outside has slowed down, many of us find ourselves caught in a strange, repetitive dance. One hand holds a smartphone, its blue light reflecting in our eyes as we scroll through an endless stream of images, news, and notifications. The other hand, almost as if it has a mind of its own, reaches for a snack. A chip, a piece of chocolate, a leftover slice of pizza. We often call this mindless eating, and we tell ourselves it's a lack of willpower. We promise that tomorrow we will be more disciplined. But what if I told you that this isn't a failure of character? What if I told you that your brain is simply responding to a map it didn't choose to draw? Welcome to the first chapter of our exploration into the psychology of food. Today, we aren't talking about calories, or macros, or even nutrition. We are talking about the invisible string that connects your digital life to your physical hunger. We are mapping the dopamine loop. To understand why we eat the way we do in the modern world, we first have to understand what dopamine actually is. Most people think of dopamine as the pleasure chemical, the reward we get when we achieve something or eat something delicious. But neuroscientists see it differently. Dopamine isn't the chemical of pleasure. It is the chemical of anticipation. It is the more molecule. Dopamine is what drove our ancestors to hunt for miles or search for rare fruit trees. It's the brain's way of saying, look over there. There might be something valuable. Go get it. It's a survival mechanism designed to keep us searching, seeking, and moving. Now, imagine that same survival mechanism placed in the palm of your hand. Every time you pull down to refresh a social media feed or click on a suggested video, your brain releases a small pulse of dopamine. It's the thrill of the unknown. What's next? What will I see now? The problem is that the digital world is an infinite resource. In the ancient world, you eventually found the fruit tree and the dopamine pulse settled. In the modern world, the scroll never ends. We are keeping our brains in a state of perpetual anticipation, a constant high-alert search for the next hit of information. This is where the map leads back to your kitchen. Dopamine spikes are always followed by a crash. It's a biological law. What goes up must come down. When you finally put your phone away, or when you reach the end of a content loop, your dopamine levels drop below their baseline. This creates a sensation of emptiness. It's a feeling of restlessness, a slight anxiety, a sense that something is missing. Your brain, in its ancient wisdom, wants to fix that drop immediately. It wants to get back to that high anticipation state. And what is the fastest, most reliable way to spike dopamine in the physical world? High sugar, high fat, hyperpalatable food. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a notification and a nutrient. To your neurons, a like on a photo and a bite of a donut are using the same currency. When you are digitally overstimulated, your body misinterprets that post-scroll crash as physical hunger. You aren't hungry for calories. You are hungry for a neurochemical stabilization. You are eating to fill a digital void. This is the hidden architecture of modern cravings. We live in a world where food engineers and software engineers are using the same psychological blueprint. Both are designed to be in the food industry. This is called the bliss point, the precise ratio of salt, sugar, and fat that overrides your body's full signals and tells your brain to keep eating. In the tech industry, it's called engagement. It's the precise timing of notifications and the layout of interfaces that keep you staring at the screen long after you intended to stop. When we combine these two worlds, we create a feedback loop that is almost impossible to break with willpower alone. We are overstimulated by our screens, which makes us crave the instant comfort of processed foods. And once we eat those foods, the heavy blood sugar spikes and crashes make us feel sluggish, leading us back to our screens for a quick hit of digital energy. The map is complete, and it's a circle. So, how do we begin to redraw this map? How do we reclaim our biology from the designers and the engineers? The first step is awareness. The next time you find yourself standing in front of the pantry at 10 o'clock at night, I want you to pause. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. Ask yourself, did I feel a physical growl in my stomach? Or did I just finish scrolling through a stressful news feed? Recognize that your brain is trying to solve a digital problem with a physical solution. The second step is what we call environmental anchoring. If dopamine is the molecule of anticipation, we need to create spaces where anticipation isn't allowed. This is why the phone-free table is more than just a polite social rule. It is a biological necessity. When you eat with your phone next to your plate, your brain is divided. Part of it is trying to process the sensory depth of your meal, the smell, the texture, the taste. But the other part is still on the hunt, waiting for the screen to light up. This division means you never fully register the satisfaction of the food. You can finish an entire meal and still feel hungry because your brain wasn't present to record the experience. In the chapters to come, we will explore how this loop affects our emotions, our social connections, and our very sense of self. But for today, the goal is simple. Notice the string. Notice the connection between the scroll and the snack. You aren't broken. You aren't lazy. You are a biological being, living in a digital trap. And the moment you see the trap, it begins to lose its power over you. Put the phone down. Breathe. Let the dopamine settle. And when you finally do eat, make sure you are actually there to taste it.